Do you ever feel like girl dinner?
Oh, wow. No.
Really? No, you don't. You're a meal gal. You're a meal gal.
No, I really don't. I really do not relate to this at all.
Hi, I'm the lone cheese string at the back of the fridge, Phoebe.
And I'm Jacque,
And welcome to Do You Ever Feel Like?
where we ask the questions that everyone's thinking and no one's answering.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. I will let you know that you do not clap with me.
No, I don't. I can't do it. Whenever anybody would count down things as a child, I did not understand the concept because it was like, do you
Are you
clap?
one of those in the audience that are like, I go to jail. If you cannot clap along, do not make that drummer or that bass player's life harder than it already is with your
I mean, I eventually get
nonsense.
it, but in the beginning time, it doesn't really work.
I have developed this habit where I think eating on the pod is fine, and it's just foul behavior of me to think that this is even remotely okay.
I'm rubbing off on you.
Well, it's so funny too because my mom lives in my head as mothers do, and there was this radio host on Jazz FM. 92.1 Jazz FM, 93.1. I can't remember what it was.
92.
Something. This is a Toronto show.
No.
Did you listen to it?
I think it's the same here. 92 point. Maybe it was 5 here.
It wouldn't be the same. Yeah, 92.1 Jazz FM, Toronto. There was this woman who would always chew on the radio, and my mom would oh, there she goes again. She's chewing. And she really did smack. She was smacking and real mouth sounding on that mic.
We were in Chicago, and one of our friends in the kitchen, right? Remember, they were like, Jacqueline, when you chew gum.
Oh, Jacqueline calls me on the phone, and
yeah, I'm just gumming, chewing away.
It's bad.
It's foul. It's really bad. I turn into I hate the term soccer mom, but I turn into a soccer mom.
Is that what soccer moms are doing? Are they running around town chewing gum?
I don't know. I think they're quite I don't know. I become someone else. I become a mom of 3. And I live in a Jersey suburb, and they
really
they all play really intense soccer. They're very into soccer.
I would never.
I'm screaming at them to get in the car with 5 pieces of gum in my mouth. You know what I mean? That's who I become.
Were you ever a smoker?
No.
You're lucky you missed that because that is
I was I'm cool smoker. I was I'm a teenager. You know what I mean? Smoking.
Yeah. So it was horrible.
Yeah. So it wasn't real. No, and horrible. I mean, it's horrible. No,
it is horrible no matter what. But oh god, it's disgusting how much I still want a cigarette.
My husband has recently taken it up again, and now when we come home, Jack, he leaves. He goes outside and he has a smoke, right? And I'm immediately I'm back in high school, right? Or back in college where we couldn't do anything the moment we come in the
because you
house.
have to go out for a smoke.
Because he has to go out for a smoke. And I'm we were literally just outside. You couldn't have smoked your cigarette on our walk.
No. I was late for everything growing up all the time because wherever we got anywhere, I had to wait for my parents to have a smoke first, and then we could go into the school auditorium or something like that.
Like, oh my goodness.
Anyway, what a horrible way to just mouth sounds and smoking.
Sounds.
You're caught up on Gilded Age?
Oh, am I caught
That
up
was one of
on Gilded Age?
That was one of the best episodes of television ever.
Ever.
It was so good.
Literally ever. Quite literally ever. If you haven't watched or know what Gilded Age is, just leave. Just go watch it.
Julian knows how to fucking write a show. Like,
oh my God.
So Julian did like Downton Abbey. I was trying to think. He did like Gosford Park too, right?
Really?
I think so. I think so. Okay. But I just think like whatever the Kool-Aid is down at Gilded Age HQ is spicy.
Well, it's spicy
good.
Because it is theater.
Mm-hmm.
Like the so core, good. like everyone that works on that show comes from the theater world. Like, and is like, you know, classically trained theater actors. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just like a level of like drama that you don't get without that. Like, it's so rich. It's so good. It's such a like, it's like you use the term delicious all the time. Like that show is delicious. Yes.
It feels like a real treat. The writing's so good. It's, Okay. Yeah. I have genuinely no notes for that show, and people love to give notes.
Yeah. I want to get into a little bit of the last episode. So if you haven't watched, I don't know what to do right now.
We can't do that to
Please.
People.
Please.
Oh, okay, fine. Fine, if you're not caught up, just like jump ahead. I'll try to keep Jacqueline to a minute.
Funny. Very funny. Okay, I just want to talk about the choreography of the dinner scene. The choreography
with the Duke.
Yes. Of everyone coming, like all of the weight, you know what I mean? People like coming around.
Oh yes,
the drama of the soup.
Yeah,
the Jack and I always turn to each other and are like, "Wow, this show is insane!" Like these moments are so dramatic.
I think it's funny you're saying that, like the choreography of those things, because I think like the fucking costuming is
oh my God
next level. Like everyone looks crazy, like all of the time in the best way. Like it is a bunch of people that like give a shit. That's why I get so cheesed when people are like giving notes or like talking about shows like this, where I'm like, you go make something crazy like this show. Like the detail is incredible. And I think like the storytelling for all of the different characters is like really, really good. And they're like, Julian loves an upstairs downstairs moment, but he's like got I don't know. I think it's really good.
It's so
and I'm
good.
wondering what the payoff is going to be for all of these storylines. Like what is the big, you know.
Oh, I've got some ideas.
Denouement.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, it's so good. I'm so living for these moments of drama around the most simple things, right? Around the most you know, so delicious. It's like, yes, and the hats, the costumes, the hats, the bustles, the shoes, it's so specific.
It's so good.
So detailed, so artful. Yeah, you know what? People with your notes, you know, go be Audra McDonald and like try, like get out of here.
It's so good. It's so good. I know I sent it to you, but for anyone that, I mean, if you're interested in Gilded Age, I think it's interesting. But the Keith York City Instagram is so interesting. He does like a recap of each episode and kind of like the facts of, because it's like it's based in like, what's it? Early 1800s? Yeah, New York. What's the timeline on that? I believe.
I think it's later than that. I think it's later.
I think it's like mid. Because I was like, if they were gonna do like a Downton crossover, what's his face would have to be like a young man, like quite a young man. So yeah, I think it's like mid to late
like
1800s.
1870s.
Yeah.
And on.
Yeah, it's like mid to late. Yeah.
Something. Yeah.
So it's like, mid to late 1800s New York, and like, the people that were there, like the old guard, of class, etc. But like, all of these stories of like coming to America and finding success, the real American dream for these people, right? I'm like, oh, this is where this shit comes from.
Yeah.
But so this like Keith York City guy, he does like a recap of like, like the Astors, like here is actually Mrs. Astor, and here's like what she was up to, and here was her daughter, and here's why this like being invited to this dance would be a big deal, and here's the dance that I think that they're probably talking about. And like, or here's like the Metropolitan, like when it was being built, and like there was, I can't remember what it was. And I don't know, it's really interesting. And then I'm so Gilded Age pilled, as you can see. I've started listening to the podcast as well. Have you been listening to the companion podcast?
I have not.
Oh my God. But they're like, every time there's like a wide shot, like a establishing shot, I'm like, where the fuck is this location? Like, where are they getting all of these buildings in this cobblestone road? Like, I find it incredible. I mean, obviously
it's
a lot
set,
of it's like,
right?
Well, some of it's sets. Some of it's CGI, like some of it they're painting. Like I think that main street, you can kind of tell they're like painting it out, like a bunch of stuff behind them.
Yeah.
And then some of it is like built. It's really interesting because like I can't remember. I think it was the Met. I think it was that shot of the no. I can't remember what building it was. Or maybe it was one of the churches or something like that. But one of the buildings at their end, it was like an old church in like kind of upstate New York. But it's been really interesting because they're kind of contending with modern things on these buildings. So like, how much is it to like get rid of that AC unit up in that window? Or like, and then they're dealing with like practical effects people and like After Effects people. And like, can we paint this air conditioner unit out? Like, I don't know. Or like, what do we think of this road? So it's like a real, I don't know. It's like, I love problems like that. Yeah, it's really good. It's really good.
That's so cool.
Real artistry.
Seriously. Yes. So many artists that make that show come to life. I'm going to listen to that podcast because I'm interested in the the engineer storyline. And if that's true, I didn't even look it up yet. So I'm going to listen.
You mean like the little boy and the clock boy?
Not the clock boy, but yes, that's interesting
too. Or the unions,
too.
The Philly unions. Is that what you're
I'm
talking about?
interested in the Brooklyn Bridge engineer. Maybe you're not caught up yet. Did you watch Sunday's episode? Because I don't want to ruin
Sunday's
it for you.
episode was with the Duke, and she was running up the stairs, throwing the paper at the end. He's my Duke.
No.
You're
not caught up.
I think we're behind on. I don't think we get everything.
Yeah.
First, because we're caught. That's all I have.
That's a really great traumatic moment, though.
I think that was like one of the best.
What I've been
of
referring
TV.
to for the past, like that episode, yeah. The last one was not.
Okay.
What I've been referring to this entire time is the most recent episode, which you've been referring to the other time is like 2 episodes back than what we're currently at. But anyways, doesn't matter. Point is, it's an incredible show. And I don't want to ruin anything for you.
So yes, we did no spoilies.
Talking. Yes.
We did no spoilies that whole time.
No. Yeah, no
great.
spoilies. Ugh. Watch The Gilded Age.
Watch The Gilded Age. It's so good. Are you watching anything else right now?
Well, I recently restarted my Parenthood binge.
Oh, God. Oh, God. I've been wondering if I should rewatch that show at all. I've thought about it a couple of times, but is it actually good? You know what I mean? Like, I watched it when it was on, and I watched all of it, and I enjoyed it then. But it's one of those things. I'm like, will I actually enjoy that?
Okay, well,
here's
here's
so
the thing.
upsetting.
Well, yes. I mean, this is not who you are. This is not Phoebe's television experience, right? Like,
no, this is who you are.
This is who I am. So it's like, I think it's quite good. I think it's it's really interesting because I really like Parenthood, but I did not like Friday Night Lights. And like a lot of folks would be like, what? How is that possible? This is like the same, showrunner, same producer.
Who I don't recognize
Jason Katims.
Okay.
I don't know. There's like something about Parenthood.
I mean, I really liked it when it was on. I thought it was,
I think the acting is quite good. I think it's like kind of one of our first like examples of how a television show doesn't have to be like so intensely scripted, and you can like play during ensemble scenes, and if we don't quite catch everything, like that's okay. You know what I mean? Like this idea of like overlapping and stuff like was like a Friday Night Lights thing and then a Parenthood thing.
Cool.
And again, I think that's kind of why I like it, because I mean, I love a family drama because I'm like, a white woman that was trained in theater. But I think I liked Parenthood a lot when it first came on because it felt like theater. It feels like you're watching a play.
It does. I guess that's what I mean. It was like, is it as good as I remember it being, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, I really enjoyed it when it was on. It wasn't like, I mean, this is what I mean. It's like, I was thinking about putting it on. I'm like, oh, is it more soapy than I remember? Like, is it more, am I actually going to enjoy it? You
probably.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. I was thinking, I was like, I don't know. I don't know.
It's probably a bit more soapy. I don't know. I'm trying to just figure out. I've started my holiday movie watching.
I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, I got my candy cane ice cream the other day, and I was like, I think I need to watch The Holiday.
Okay, everyone has their movie.
I love The Holiday. I saw The Holiday for my birthday.
Ooh.
And I was like, yeah, because I've been 30 my entire life.
Same. I popped out as a 40-year-old woman.
Yeah. I've been 33 this whole time. I went to go see The Holiday for my birthday with like my two like childhood best friends, and so that's what it makes me think of. And like then we went home and like played guitar on our pillows like Kate Winslet does. Yeah.
I watched The Family Stone.
I've never seen The Family Stone. You
need to watch The Family Stone. I'm excited for this this winter season because it snowed this morning.
Yes, it snowed.
And I got so excited. This morning I went out on a walk and it was like a fall autumnal walk. Like all of the ginkgos have like leaves have fallen, and it's just like right now Philadelphia is just like yellow everywhere.
It's
it's
so
just, like,
funny.
Golden.
It's like it's winter here now. Like,
no,
it
I
is
know.
gray. There are no leaves. There haven't been leaves for so long.
I was astonished today when it started snowing. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I hate it. It's cold here. It's the sun's been out the sun came out yesterday for a little bit. The sun came out yesterday when I was on a run, which was super nice. But yeah, I don't know. I started doing this thing. It's like the worst habit I've ever developed. Not the worst. We were talking about smoking earlier, but it's so bad. But it makes me really depressed. I will accidentally count how long it's been since I've seen the sun, and like it's not a cute thing. Don't do it. It's so bad. And I'll be like, it's been 5 days since the sun's been out.
Oh my gosh.
And like I'm an old miner or something like that, like trapped in a well.
Like you're in the Gilded Age in the unions of Philadelphia or Pittsburgh.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, it's just horrible. And it's so funny to think too, watching the Gilded Age, I'm like, ugh, like I would love to wear one of those dresses. No, bitch, your family, you are from miners. Quite literally. You would not, there's no, you're not wearing a dress anywhere.
You are below the house.
Yeah. Yes. I clean the shoes. Maybe that was a good job. You get let in one of those places.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway.
Absolutely. Tell us about running. Update us on running, because apparently quite a few folks in this last episode that we did.
Everyone loves to talk about running. Well, I think it's like so it's my birthday this week, and I think rounding out your 20s is about deciding to do a marathon, apparently. Like every single person I talk to, they're like, yeah, I haven't had a drink in 6 months and I've taken up running.
Yep.
Like it's I don't know. There's I don't think I'll write about it maybe in a decade or something like that, but there's something very funny about like your mid-20s. We talked about this in the last episode about like going out, right? Like I was going to the clubs and then the pandemic hit and like now I enjoy like lemon water and going to bed at a reasonable hour. Like it's just a funny thing. I know everyone kind of, well, not everyone, most people have some sort of like transition like that at some point, but to have it like taken from you was very weird. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. I've been running. It's been good. I don't really have a running update, just that I run.
Just that you love it. Just that you will be 29.
I know.
Running.
That's actually, you want to hear my birthday plans?
I do. What are your birthday plans?
I'm going to wake up, have a coffee, go for a run, and then I've booked myself the hot, cold, the fire and ice sauna and ice bathroom. So nothing says quite like entering middle age, quite like health.
Quite like health. Yep. Yeah. 1000%.
And I'm so excited. Like people have been like, "Oh, do you want to go out this day? Do you want to do something?" I'm like, well, I have a sauna and ice bath for an hour, so I'm busy."
Yeah,
and then I'm gonna need to recover. So,
what is better than everyone leaving you alone?
Yeah, being in a dark room
frigid,
alone,
cold, or very warm.
It's so nice. Anyway,
I mean, whatever. Anyway, it's cold. The Gilded Age, smoking. Here we are. Fires.
I feel like this is kind of a good segue. In all of these like little bits. Do you ever feel like girl dinner?
Oh wow. I can't believe you're doing this to me.
I knew you were gonna have a flip. I knew you were gonna have a flip about it. And this is why I didn't tell you.
Okay, well, you know how to create a moment.
Yeah.
You know how to create the moment. No.
Really? No, you don't. You're a meal gal. You're a meal gal.
No. I really don't. I really do not relate to this at all.
You're a meal gal. You're a meal gal.
I am. Yes, I really am.
Jacqueline got really cheesed at me when she was staying with me because I eat like a little gazelle. And you're not the only friend that gets really irritated with me because I do eat like, I'm like, I just want to have like, I'll eat like a sleeve of crackers, but like throughout the day. Like, no. Versus like I have friends that sit down, they're like, let's pour a sleeve of crackers down our gullets this moment. But I would like make food and Jacqueline would be like, this is not enough food.
Also, I will have to say, you are not the only person in my life who has experienced this. Like in my tour around cities in the last like 2 months, 3 months.
Right.
Every single I got mad at every person I stayed with. I was like, gal. Why is there no food? I'm always that person that's like, there's a ton of food, but I'm like, there's no food. You know what I mean? Like that's who I am.
That's
like,
so funny. You know what? I didn't think of it this way, but maybe part of it is like I find so I grew up with a million people in my house at all times.
Oh, that's definitely probably
I think that's a huge part of it. So it's like when I see food, like it's so funny to me. Like I remember, like being a teenager and like ordering food with friends for the first time and like seeing what pieces of pizza like how much pizza people would take, and like I would always take like a slice of pizza and like my food that I'm gonna eat because like there's 6 of us here or something like that, versus because I lived in a household with like upwards of 8 people at any given time, versus like friends that were just like either like
1 or 2 siblings,
and came from like nice middle class families or whatever, and they would like pile the food on their plates. And I remember like sitting with like one of my other friends who had like a big family. We'd look at each other and be like, we are the only people here that know how to like share food with people. And I think that's like always such an interesting dynamic when you're eating with people. And I still think of it now. And like, I take like my amount and then people are like, or it goes the inverse. Like my brothers are like, there's no food here. We must fend for ourselves.
Right.
Like,
that's what I thought you were going to say, which is like, you know, you pile up because who knows when you're going to be able to.
Well, I'm also a woman, you know. So I need to think
course.
of everybody else at all times, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for the folks that don't know, girl dinner is, I mean, I hate doing this. I hate doing this when I talk about something on the internet. Do we need to tell the people what girl dinner is? I think so.
I think we should, but I don't think it's, I think we should, but it's not needed. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay. Like, so it's like in this essay, here's the definition of all of the things I will discuss today.
Yeah.
So I think, girl dinner, I was trying to find like the original creators' names of them, but TikTok is so fucking irritating because it's like if you see something once, it's like gone after that.
Yeah.
But girl dinner is a trend started on TikTok where they're like, this is my dinner. I call this girl dinner. And it is like a smattering of things fresh out of the fridge, basically. Maybe like a grape, a slice of cheese, and like a potato of some kind.
Yeah, it's usually like rando.
Or like an ice cream and I don't know, like some cereal. Or like a bowl of ramen that you've put like a single egg in or something like that. Like a pantry ramen.
Yes.
What do you call it? What is the thing I can't think of? The
pantry
ramen
ramen
word that I can't. What
is pantry ramen?
Just ramen.
Do you just mean ramen? Like
not like fresh.
You have a packet of ramen.
What is
you
it
put
called?
hot water with it.
No, but there's like
that is ramen.
Name for instant.
Instant ramen.
Instant ramen is what I mean, not pantry ramen. Oh my god. What is that?
I just had the weirdest like vision of Simon in your pantry with pantry ramen. Like
that's what I mean.
Only
it's like,
eating it in the pantry.
No, instant. We're like an augmented.
Yeah,
that was like a staple when I was in university. Was like instant ramen with like an egg. We would just put an egg on anything, and it could become a meal.
Yeah.
So that's girl dinner. And it kind of like sprung off from there. And like, you know, it eventually made its way off TikTok onto Instagram and the rest of the internet. And like the media got a hold of it, etc. There's like some places of the internet that it fell into that we can like talk, that kind of got dark and weird that maybe we'll talk about. It's still stuck in my head, basically. And it's like, you know, like this was
from
a
like,
trend
I feel like
from
it was like in the summer.
Like 6 months ago. Exactly. Something like that. And why we're still talking about girl dinner, because I find it a very compelling, I find it encapsulates so many things about like the millennial woman experience. And I think part of that is like calling things girl things, you know, like the trend of girl math, the trend of, I mean, like I wrote a poem knowing it would be very like clickbaity, like knowing exactly what I was doing using all of these words. And like the comment section of that poem is like people arguing over why or what we call things girl things.
Yeah.
And I find that to be fascinating that like we can't kind of, because part of my thinking is like, and why I find it always kind of like cringe and weird whenever I'm like talking about something on the internet and like explaining it on this podcast is like, can't we just let things be? Like, it ain't that deep kind of thing. But then I also go like, well, but why are we all having this reaction to this? You know, like, why are we?
Yeah, like, why is it in the New York Times?
Why is it in the New York Times? Why is it on Bon Appetit? Why is it in fucking Women's Health? Like, why are dietitians weighing in? Why are, like, grown-ass men getting angry about it? Why are women getting angry about it? And I find, like, that to be fascinating, interesting.
I mean, this is not I don't know, this is not surprising to me. You and I have a podcast, we create things on the internet, we run a media company.
Yeah.
The fact that you're fascinated by this is exactly. Not surprising.
Yeah, it's my raison d'etre. It's like, it's why I'm here. Yeah, I love to pull things apart. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
But I think it's so funny when we get to this place of like things getting weird and judgmental about like something can't just like exist. Like something can't just exist on the internet without it being on the internet. Like it has this, I love what you said. Like in that Alexis episode, like there are two worlds. There's two realities. We have the internet and then we have the world in which we live in. And we're always kind of looking at the internet. Well, not always. Like some people are looking at the internet from this like world perspective. And then some people are living in the world looking at like from the internet's perspective. And like when they're so judgmental of each other. So that's where I'm at with girl dinner. And why I still feel like, you know, months after this trend, I like still want to talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, it did something. I also think there was something about like, you know, the summer of the girl.
Yes.
Right? Like the summer of Barbie, the summer of Taylor, the summer of Beyonce, the summer of, like, you know what I mean? It was like, so yeah, there was a lot. It
really was a girl summer.
It was a girl
summer.
And it's so interesting because it's so funny. It's so interesting. It's such a girl thing to say. I find it really quite triggering when men call me girl.
Yes.
And I think that that's the point. Right? Like I think the point of this is like reclamation of this term, right? And it's interesting too because like if we talk about boy and not to like put everything on a binary, etc., but I find it interesting to see like who, like what type of man embraces the boy idea, right? Like what type of man is like, I am but a boy. You know what I mean? Because not all men are boys, right? And not all men are internet boys. And like not like, and so I find that interesting. You know what I mean? Like who can kind of be in the joy and access of like what you were talking about with your poem of like the childhood experience, right? And then like who's like who can't or who like can't access that or who has issues with it or tension around it, right? Like it's I find that.
It's like I think that's interesting what you're saying about kind of like reclamation in a way because it really fucking pisses people off. Like even women, which like is super fair. Like if you don't want to be called, if you don't want to be girl anything, if you want to be grown adult woman, like please.
Sure. Yeah.
Please.
Interesting. I love when the girls say the girls.
Me too.
I don't love when the boys say the girls. I don't love when the men say the girls. You know what I mean? Like
no.
Yeah.
No. No. And I don't even really think we're even having the conversation about that right now. Like, I think we've like maybe started like stop calling grown adult women girls. Like, I think we've maybe kind of started, but it has not reached, I don't know, like the point of like why or what or whatever. Like, you know, this whole thing. Actually, it was really funny. I remember having, I had a job once and they were trying to come up for a title for me. And I was like, oh, what about like Girl Friday? And the like men at the company did not like that at all. And they're like, no, we are not like, we don't want someone to see you like on the website being called like Girl Friday or something like that. Versus the women are like, well, no, she wants to be called like the girl, like that's fine. And I think that's so funny that's like people still have like this big reaction to that thing based on like how they're perceived. Right? Like we don't want to be perceived as potentially sexist because or whatever the thing is in that. And anyway, so so I think that there's something kind of interesting in why girl dinner is so compelling for many reasons. I think, well, one, it's how I like to eat. I love a little snack. I love a little snack. I love a smattering. I love a small selection of things.
Yes.
A very large meal to me is not compelling. It's not how I like to eat. And I think what is so interesting that comes up, and I don't know, maybe we're talking about, I don't know, but the like domestic labor gap that girl dinner allows for or highlights, I don't really know.
Yeah.
So, and I think we've talked about this a couple of times on the pod, like that married women, partnered women have, so again, binaries, because this is also how like things get surveyed. So these are from StatsCan, that like married women have more domestic labor,
Right.
than like single women, and even, women like, what's the word? Single mothers still have less hourly work, domestic labor work.
Wow.
Isn't that horrifying? So it's like adding a man, like a man living with you adds 15 hours a week of labor.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Oh my
Uh-huh.
God.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And I think part of this is like this expectation, if we're gonna like, go to pretty traditional gender roles here, is like, like this expectation of like a full meal and like the time that takes to create something like that. And so I think it with like girl dinner is like a sense of protest in a sense. It's like a sense of like, I don't know, like reclamation that this is my own, this is my space. I can tell you right now, well, when I don't really cook meals all that often in my house.
No.
But if I were like, Simon wouldn't be interested in a girl dinner. Like that's not something that he would want to like eat.
No.
And so I think that it's like very personal. And I think women don't get a lot of space and time in their lives, especially in like this, for just this. And like to eat alone is like such a pleasurable activity, really. And all of those stats have grown 10% in the last, I think there was a 2019 study and a 2015 study, and all of those stats grew. And I really feel like after the pandemic, those must have only gotten bigger when we were seeing women like, working and looking after children at the same time.
Yeah. 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 I mean, I get that whole like angle of it, right? Like this idea that like food and the preparation of food lands on, the domestic labor of women. And therefore, sure, make everybody a meal, but then have a girl dinner. Yeah, there's like it's like a quiet revolution. Right? It's like a quiet act of resistance.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, totally. I think also what I find, interesting about it is like this idea that this is like quite meta, but like, why are we commenting on women eating?
Yeah.
Like,
100%. Well, and to your point too, like diet culture got a hold of girl dinner, obviously, and started doing their fucked up, like, here's, like it could be seen, and not just could, and
it's complicated.
It's complicated.
It's
complicated. And it's, and this is what I mean. Like when Women's Health Mag says they're like, they're talking about girl dinner all of a sudden, get a dietitian's perspective or get a nutritionist's perspective on this stuff. And it's like, food is not fucking fuel. Like to eat something is not you are not a machine. Like food is pleasure, food. And the way that people act like food is some sort of thing that only sustains us is so ridiculous, versus like, I'm hungry, an ice cream sandwich at like 7:30 is actually a great dinner because it's just something and I get to sit on my couch and not to think about it. And like, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think this is all about the bottom. Like this is all about being a good woman, right? And like what that looks like. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Totally.
Oh my God, absolutely. And like to be like alone in your house, that's like the only time that you get to not be a good woman.
Yeah.
This brings me to kind of my hypothesis. And I don't actually know how to talk about this I almost rewrote the episode last night because I was like, this is something completely different. But I feel like we have the rom-com to blame for girl dinner in a sense. And I feel like we have the rom-com to blame for this like season of girlness that we're in. Maybe not to blame, but to embrace. Because, like the early 2000s, you and I were growing up in like the heyday of the rom-com. And, like even I'm going to kind of like put chick flick, you know, like Legally Blonde, gonna just tuck that in with those things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sold this like life of being what being a woman is, you know. It's you know, she's Carrie Bradshaw. She has her like, you know, her life is glamorous and she spends
her shoes are in her oven.
Yes. And you know, she has a great career and she has a great life, you know, and she has everything's going well except for her like her love life. And I think, you know, the actual reality was, you know, like the 2008 like housing crisis and stock market crash, and like jobs weren't jobs what they were, even in this like romance of like where you have this, you know, I'm an architect, but I never have to go to work, or I'm a wedding planner and I just have a cute little headset, and like all of these things.
Yeah.
I think, you know, that wasn't the reality of the world then, but it certainly wasn't the reality of the world like by the time that we like started getting jobs and blah 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 blah. And so I feel like Girl Dinner and like having girl whatever the fuck it is, you know, romanticize something cute in her life is like the one small way that we can like be in the world and our heads not explode. It's like actually the only thing that's keeping this whole thing together. Like if I can have blueberry nails, and yes, it might just be like fucking lavender or whatever, but screw you, like I want to make it cute because there's photos of war on my phone right now, and like I can't, like the cost of living is so high. And so I feel like there's like this, it's like the only way that we can have some peace, and like which is why I come full circle on this thing and go like it's not that deep. Actually, like this whole exploration that we have to do,
no, like everyone is
why we have to go like around and around circles and roll our eyes at being called girl, blah, blah, blah. Actually, it's just like not that deep. It's just like, let's just have fun.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what happens, right? When I think that's kind of, it's like the Barbie movie. Like that was my experience with the Barbie movie too, right? As I was like, what? I'm sorry, what? Like everyone was in this like outrage and outcry about that movie. And I was like, this movie had never had any intention of being an intersectional feminist film. Like, and of course I understand that like we should have more stories like that, obviously, but like it's about Barbie, which was like a German propaganda. Like I don't understand like what we thought this was going to be. And, or if Barbie is your feminism and you walked into that movie and it was a transformational experience for you to look at the world that you live in and to recognize, you know, white supremacy and patriarchy, et cetera, for the first time ever, part of me goes, ooh, to that. You know what I mean? Part of me is a little surprised by that, but also, and why not? Welcome. But also, and like, great. If that's what your like entry point is, fantastic. You know what I'm saying? So yes, it's not that deep, but also, and if Girl Dinner makes you think about domestic labor, which I'm sorry was probably the intention when we really get down into it of a Gen Z or young millennial creating a TikTok of that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like, yeah, like cool, great. But also, and survive and have like a cheese stick, you know, like, yeah, totally. I think
yeah, I think it's, you know, exactly to your point of like, it all comes down to being a good woman, right? Like, like Greta Gerwig will never direct a movie for all women because she is not all women.
No.
Barbie will never encapsulate all women because although that's what she's supposed to be, she will never, you can't be all women. And I think the way that we villainize and like the same, you can't just enjoy a cute thing without, you know, the fucking BuzzFeed or Bon Appetit. Bon Appetit's writing about Girl Dinner. Like fucking Condé Nast, get out of here.
Thing about like what would Julia Child? I need to find this. Like what would Julia Child think of Girl Dinner?
Oh, fuck, that's so funny.
And I was like, oh,
but it's like women.
Julia Child actually would fucking love Girl Dinner. She would be like, eat whatever you want.
It's extremely French. It's extremely French to have Girl Dinner. But it's like we can't let women just fucking live. Yeah. Because it always has to be right. Yeah. Are you performing womanhood correctly? Are you acting in a way that is appealing to everybody and that does not upset that is free enough, you know, but don't upset everyone at the same time, you know?
But also carry around the responsibility of social commentary and storytelling because you're the only ones that ever like
because you're the only one that ever gets a shot.
Yeah. And you're the only one that like women historically have told stories. Like women historically have been oral, like reflector, right? Like historians and reflectors, like women talk.
Yeah.
And I think like they have their kind of like, we have the kind of like responsibility in that in some ways, but when can we put that responsibility down? When can we have a break? When can we breathe? When can we not even talking about snacking? Up.
Yeah.
Right. Like not even talking about a cheese stick. We can't put it down. I'm really fascinated by that too. And I think I was listening, I think I sent you this episode. I was listening to, We Can Do Hard Things. They had, Roxane Gay on talking about social media. It's excellent. And they, you know, discuss this concept, this idea of like, you know, if you're on social media now, you have to be constantly morally right.
Yeah.
And like that conversation.
And the stakes are so high.
Yeah. And the stakes are quite high. And that conversation within the context of like, you know, the last 2 months is also interesting, right? You want to talk about like women's responsibility during humanitarian crisis and all of that. But like, yeah, it was super interesting because, you know, nothing can be joy. Like even this morning I posted about the snow and I'm like, I judged myself doing it because I was in this like joy, excited about the snow. Yeah. And I am constantly thinking, you know, as if it matters. Yeah. Like snow as if it matters, girl dinner as if it matters. You know what I mean? And I hear you. I think it does matter. And also it doesn't have to mean anything at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, and I think, there's just no fucking winning.
There's no winning. It's a trap.
There's just no
Everything
fucking
is a trap.
winning.
Yes.
And the system works like exactly as it's designed. And it really makes me, and I mean, to kind of, maybe I wrote this about my poem without really realizing it, but like, I just think of the comments section on that TikTok and like, it's crazy. I mean, like one of the top comments is someone like complaining about my voice. And it's a woman complaining about my voice. And it's like, oh, it's something like your voice ruins it or something like that. And it's like, I can't even talk. Right? Like we can't even talk. And actually it's one of the comments that whenever I post this online, people are like, or one of my favorites was, I couldn't tell if this was a parody an SNL sketch or something of a podcast.
Honestly,
I love it. I think it's so funny.
The history because the fact that they could not tell is exactly the fucking point. Like,
I know.
Literally, like I was like, yes, we are doing our job.
Doing it. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
It's just so funny to me that's like, we can't exist. And you and I have all the fucking privilege in the world, right? Like we are two like symmetrically proportioned white women. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
And it's like, we're
sitting here talking about something, right?
Yeah. And it's like this so fucked up, like web of things. And that's, I'm like, girl dinner has everything to do with rom-coms. Like, it's like everything is everything.
Yes. Everything is everything. And
kind of feel a bit crazy.
For this pod. When we first were thinking of it.
And it kind of is a bit crazy making because then you look around and, or, you know, at the comment section, which don't do, but anyway, I should learn that lesson. But I feel like an anthropologist. I'm like, fascinating. What's going on down here? It's just like, it ain't that deep. And also obviously we're here. Like, obviously if there's like just the worst, like crimes against humanities are going to be committed, like, can you please pass the cheese string?
Yes, absolutely.
And for Jacqueline, I shall still make her a meal.
if
Meal gal.
if someone was like, we're having dinner and here's a thing of celery and peanut butter, I would rage. I would just rage against that. I would be like, no, thank you. That's insane behavior. And because of like, you know, again, I eat like that now because my girl dinner was a problem, right?
Yeah, like totally.
Because like I was abusing myself. So like now I'm like, no.
Yeah,
like
great.
My act of resistance is no girl dinner. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like, again, why can't we hold those things at the same time?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is the ultimate question of this podcast. Send us in your fave girl dinner vibes, recipes, conclusions.
Okay, actually, this is to end. This is a good one. I know you're meal gal, so I will allow for this is still girl dinner. You're a gal having dinner. What's your like desert island last meal? What's your like ideal meal?
You know what I love?
And you can do starter, main, dessert too.
Ooh, no, that's wild behavior. I can't even possibly.
Yes, you can.
I love. Okay, I have.
What are you drinking? Drink the whole thing. What's the cocktail?
We need some,
you know.
Okay, we need some bubbles. So like, I love
sparkling water.
Sparkling water.
Okay.
A Pellegrino.
Lime.
A Waterloo. Yes, some lime. I have two. I'm going to do a lunch first.
Okay, great.
I absolutely love a salad and French fries.
It's the best meal. It's the best meal.
It's quite, honestly, the best meal.
It's also so French.
I love a salad and French fries. It's like, you can't eat a salad without French, like these, like, I don't know. So I love a salad and French fries.
I love a salad and French fries.
Protein on the salad though. I can't even think about dessert. That's like a whole other like thing.
That's a whole other meal.
It's a whole other meal. It's a whole other like
we can have a starter, main, and dessert for dessert.
I can't. Well, you know, I mean, I'm a gal about sugar. Like I need a little.
You want you want a Ben and Jerry's half pint.
I love a dark chocolate peanut butter cup. That's like my thing.
The Justins,
but I think for dinner, there's something too for me about dinner. I love a Mediterranean meal. I love like some veggies and some roasted veggies and like a really yummy protein, maybe a fish. I love salmon. And I also super love like a yummy pasta with a veggie.
I love it. Pasta with a veggie.
I also love sushi.
What? You can have all you want at your girl dinner. I'm not, that's fine. Are you eating that all at the same time?
No. All those things are throughout, all those things, like, I don't know. I could have the lunch and then I could have like the Mediterranean dinner.
Or is it like a buffet is what I mean? Are you like having Mediterranean? Is it like,
are you asking me like what my dream food situation is?
Yes.
Oh yeah. It's all my favorite foods. It's all my favorite foods. Yeah, for sure. Something that I like think is quite sweet is when Jacque, he's done this before. He's gone around and gotten me my favorite things from my favorite places. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, are you having like sushi with like salmon?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. We're having like a little of this and a little of that. Oh, I love that. Yeah. What is your favorite?
I think if I were gonna like do like a dream meal, like starter, main, dessert.
Okay.
I would start with a shrimp cocktail.
Ooh, vibes.
Oh, so first it would be a glass of Prosecco. Prosecco. All I actually ever really need in life is a glass of Prosecco.
Okay.
So tasty. Crisp, cold. And that will sit there next to my sparkling water as well. And then, so hard. It would either be my mom makes, it's like famous in my family, infamous in my family, like extended family. My mom's chicken wild rice casserole
Oh.
It looks like gray slop. It's real white person nonsense. You cannot find a recipe online. It does not exist. It is from the like church cookbook, I think, that like my grandma Maud submitted. I think that's where it's from. Or no, it might be from like an Australian Women's Daily. It's one of those. The two places where my grandma used to send my grandma, or my grandma used to send my mom, my Australian grandma used to send my mom Australian women's magazines, like shipped.
Oh my gosh.
So it might be from there. There was like two recipe sources. It's so delicious. I don't eat the chicken in it anymore. But the rest of it's just like, it's like cream of mushroom soup and rice and chicken and cheese. It's delicious.
That is some real white people nonsense.
It's so, and people, I'll describe it to people, and people look at it and they go, what the hell? And then they have a bite and they're like, oh, it's really good.
Comfort food.
So it might be that, or it's always something someone's going to make me, or Simon's like Chinese food.
Oh,
Simon's really good.
Who has eaten Simon's food.
He's a very good.
Yummy.
He's like, well, his like grandfather gives him all of his like Chinese cooking things, and so it's so good. Yeah. So it might be that, and it would kind of just be anything. It would just be like rice and I don't know, probably like soy curls or like tofu, and like, actually, you know what? Dream meal: rice, fried tofu, and some bok choy. That is a fucking perfect meal in my opinion.
Bok choy. Yep.
And then for dessert, probably my mother-in-law's. I'm going for everything that people make. My mother-in-law's flourless chocolate cake. So good.
Oh.
It's like a little raspberry thing on top. So that's my big meal.
You love it.
And then wash it down with a glass of Prosecco at the end.
2 glasses of Prosecco for this
really
lady.
It's 1 glass. It's 2 sips of Prosecco is what it is. But
over
I need
2
them
hours
to bring,
of time.
Yeah, but I need them to bring out a rechilled glass. Yeah.
Yes, I see.
Yeah. I like just holding it really at this point. That's what I enjoy with Prosecco.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I love that. That's our dream meals, girl dinners. Let us know what yours is.
Yes. If you'd like to leave us a review and tell us what your girl dinner is in the comment review section, we'll read it on the next pod.
Yeah, we will. Yes, please comment, rate, send this to your friends.
Send this to your friends.
Send
it to your gal friend. This is our ask. It's my birthday. If you want to give me a birthday present.
Oh, there we go. For Phoebe's birthday.
For my birthday, please send an episode to a friend. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Oui? Comme ça? Ça va? Ici? Maintenant? Just listing French words. Okay.
Bye.
D'accord. Au revoir. Thank you for listening to Do You Ever Feel Like?
Follow this chaos wherever you get your podcasts.
Our artwork is by Simon Peng. Do You Ever Feel Like is produced by Jacqueline Wills
and Phoebe Taylor. You can follow us on Instagram at doyoueverpod.
You can write to us at doyoueverpod@gmail.com. Okay, bye!